me say a special good morning to our listening audience this morning. Those of you via Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Good Tuesday morning. It's the 16th day of May, 2023. Also, let me say good morning to our viewing audience this morning. Those of you via GBN TV, well, you're viewing channels 7, channel 11, or channels 20. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. Let me say good morning to our social media audience. Those of you via, of course, GBN's webpage. I think I'll give them a little early nod this morning, gbn.gd. Good morning. Those of you also viewing via, of course, our Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning. And welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Tuesday, and on Tuesday it's themed Opposition Tuesday. And this morning, we do have a representative from the opposition party here in Grenada. And we have for you this morning, this Kate, that's the MP, Kate Lewis Peters. She's with us this morning. Let me go over and say good morning to Ms. Kate Lewis Peters. Good morning. How are you this morning? Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. I am very good this morning, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here. I say good morning to all the viewers and listeners of this program, those via the social media platforms as well. Good morning to everyone.
Well, I want to thank you for, of course, taking the opportunity to be with us this morning, and it's certainly a pleasure to have you, and it's a pleasure to have a conversation with you this morning. And you being, of course, the MP have won your seat for the, of course, for the opposition party, and we're just going to get directly into the conversation this morning. There's always an issue where issues that the opposition may have. You being an MP for the constituency that you represent. Let's in a brief, before I get into all of the questions that I have called out to ask you this morning, what are some of the issues, of course, it relates to you, that you would, the party would say would like to get off this morning as a start, I would say. Let's do that.
Okay, so as the Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Northeast, of course, we are plagued with several issues. One, of course, being that of the closure. Over 3 months now, the closure of the Simon Pulse Bridge. It's a boat bridge. And of course, we know that it requires regular maintenance. However, for the past 3 months, that bridge has been closed off to the public, and residents are, of course, inconvenienced at the moment. I have actually received many calls, many complaints. There is an association of returning nationals. They have led a petition of over 200 signatures asking for information about the status of that bridge. So that is a main issue plaguing the residents of the Simon Pulse Paradise Baghdad area, those who would normally traverse this bridge on a daily basis. There are businesses in the area, the busmen, the school children, the young people, everyone who uses that bridge at this point in time, they have been disadvantaged. And one of the problems is that they are not hearing anything from the authorities. So this is one of the major problems faced right now in the constituency. We speak of the challenges that our constituents have faced for the past few months. We have seen the firing of many of our workers. And I have counted that over 100 of our constituents have been sent home, replaced, and no one looked to them to consider the fact that they have families to take care of, they have children to send to school, and they have been sent home. Some say it's as a result of election. With election, and you have changes in government, we have changes in the employed workforce, but I understand it to be that we are all Grenadians, we are all taxpayers, and I believe that they can find a way so that everyone can benefit. So these are some challenges at the constituency level. Again, the removal of the 150 from the elderly, and while some may say the elderly is not only the elderly, because I have had constituents who came to me to indicate that they have 5 children and that assistance from SEED used to help them with their transportation to send the children to school. Of course, they're unemployed, cannot find jobs at this time. And if they received 350 in the past, when they went back, recently they only got $75. So while they have removed that 150, there is also a cut in what was received on a normal basis by ordinary single women trying their best to send the children to school. So of course, there have been many issues faced by our constituents, and they are complaining on a daily basis. We cannot forget the rise in the cost of living constantly. As government, we have a responsibility to push on the effects of inflation for our people. We understand that the challenges of the world market and so can cause the inflation. But as government, we have a responsibility to look at ways in which we can cushion the effects for our people. So GT, I can go on and on because there are lots of issues plaguing our constituents at the moment.
I'm certainly happy to hear of some of the issues that you have, of course, stressed on. I want to still keep the conversation on the Simoon Pearls Bridge. And, there were recently a release from you. Have you had the opportunity to speak to the government themselves or the ruling government right now pertaining to the Simoon Bridge? And have there been any response from them in relation to that?
Unfortunately, we have not heard any direct response from any members of the government team as it relates to the Pearls Bridge. My understanding is that the Prime Minister had a meeting with the Public Works Department at Pearls, and that concern was raised. However, based on feedback, he indicated that at the moment, they are looking at many different bridges that has to be refurbished. And at this point, they cannot indicate as to how soon the Simoon Boat Bridge would be given any attention. We have also seen via Facebook that the MIT, the minister responsible for MIT, visited on 2 occasions, captured the moment. So we can see, yes, he was actually there. And the first time he indicated in a matter of weeks, some work should be done. But it's about 3 months now. And as a result of the disadvantages faced by the residents, there is a loud cry asking that the authorities give it some focus. We understand the challenges of this bridge, and I can tell you that in 2020, we faced similar challenges, and that bridge was completely refurbished in 2020. But of course, the material is board, and it is been used more than what it was catered for in terms of the amount of vehicles that would pass there on a daily basis. The heavy-duty vehicles, originally when this bridge was constructed, it did not cater for that level of traffic. And that is the reason why we are supposed to have regular maintenance of that bridge. If not, it will deteriorate to the point where it is now. And as a result of the lack of maintenance for the past year, that is the reason for the closure. However, we are asking the authorities to meet with residents, provide an update, give us status. There has been a petition asking for the authorities to meet with the residents so they can understand what are the plans of the government. Will there be a short-term measure? Will there be a long-term measure? These are the questions being asked right now. Residents just feel the need to know.
All right. Now, you recently spoke out in the last Parliament sitting about the Simoon Cultural Center and that particular project that's supposed to be taking place there. And you spoke about some of the issues related to the project and now tell us about that particular project and where it stands right now.
Yes, at the last Parliament, I raised the issue of the Simoon Cultural Center and seeking clarity or information as to the reason for a complete halt in that project. This project was stopped by the authorities without any consultation, any consideration given, or any information provided again to the residents of that area or the people of St. Andrew and Grenada as a whole. The thing about it is the Simoon Cultural Center has been devastated over, I would say, almost 20 years. And in my opinion, this cultural center should have been up and running a very long time ago. And that is why when I got into politics and got into government in 2018, I made it my duty to ensure that our government, that is the former administration, placed emphasis on returning the Simon Cultural Center. For me, it's personal. Some may not understand. Living in close vicinity to that area, I saw the economic benefits, direct and indirect benefits that it brought to us as constituents. Sometimes I always say to people, this cultural center assisted me in going to school so I can get an education, because I remember the days of the cultural activities and so forth, where my dad will have a bar on the outside, a bar on the inside, and the income generated assisted me. So I felt that the benefits that I received as a child, some other children can receive that same benefit. So I ensured that our government at the time placed emphasis on returning the Simon Cultural Center. Of course, it was delayed because we have to remember 2 years from 2020 to 2022, we were plagued by COVID, where all projects were stopped. Actually, the world was on halt at the moment. So we understand the delay in the implementation. But from 2018, as we got in, we demolished the old center. So work was done. We started by demolishing the old center. The next year we moved further to protect the area by fencing it. So if you look at the area now, it is well fenced. Added to that, we moved on to looking at designs and drawings, consultation, meeting with the engineers, meeting with the residents, of not just the area, but St. Andrew on a whole, because we wanted to have an inclusive approach as to what the center should produce, what it should consist of if we are going to reconstruct that center. So to hear that the reason provided for its stop is because the contractor for that project does not know what he's about, the contents of the design or the drawing is empty, I believe that is discrediting the work of the people from the Ministry of Infrastructure Development who spearheaded that project, discrediting the work of the engineering companies, both Barry's and Glyn's Engineering, who worked hard on the design, and also discrediting the efforts of the residents to participate in the discussions held and giving their contribution. So up to this point, after the last parliament, we have heard nothing again. So I'm not sure if the authorities are aware that people became unemployed as a result of the stoppage of this project again. The people who vended in that area during the construction process, they have lost an income. So it seems like the Simon area at this point in time is being disadvantaged heavily by this government.
So, Mr. Keita, are you saying that with the statement that was made by the members of government in the last sitting of Parliament, where they're saying the inadequacy of the design and so forth, are you saying that is not correct information that has been given out?
No, well, you see, these things can be relative to what people expect. So you have engineers, qualified engineers, together with the stakeholders at the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, meeting with the people, the residents of St. Andrew, to come up with a design, to come up with a drawing, all these important stakeholders, then to hear government ministers claiming that the design was empty. I just see it as discrediting the work of hardworking people who contributed greatly. You have to remember, as policymakers, our role is to ensure that the projects, the policies that we want to see happen. But again, it goes down to the work of the people, the stakeholders to get it done. So to come out and say no, that what was in the design was basically nothing is discrediting the work of these major stakeholders.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take that break. We come back and we chit-chat some more. It's To The Point for today, Tuesday the 16th of May, folks. Taking a break. We coming right back. Stay with us.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
The children are growing up so fast. When I leave here, I am going to take Tevin to get his MMR vaccine.
Kayla was supposed to have another appointment for that same vaccine. But Natalie, I'm not sure. On social media, they're saying that it's not safe. Plus, I can afford to miss work.
Girl, the vaccines are safe for decades. They protect our children. You got vaccinated, and I'm sure you're all right.
Yes, but these diseases aren't out now.
Grenada is open to childhood diseases from all over the world. Today, we have a choice to get our children vaccinated or not. Go get it done, girl. It won't take long.
I suppose so. Anything for my princess.
I want to be protected.
Check your doctor or the Ministry of Health to get the information on immunization against childhood diseases, including HPV and polio, and COVID-19 for elderly persons and persons living with non-communicable diseases.
Welcome back to viewers and listeners to The Point this morning here on GBN TV and Classic Radio. It's Opposition Tuesday. I'll be speaking to MP of the opposition. That's Kate Lewis Peters this morning. And she with us. Good morning and welcome back to you, Ms. Peters. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I want to shift our focus a wee bit. You know, you being a former minister for youth, where your views on current programs and such in terms of youth development. What are your views on that? In terms of the what are your views, I should say, on the current programs for youth development?
Okay. Well, I must state first of all that I have not seen any new programs or initiatives rolled out by the Ministry of Youth Development. What is ongoing at this time are programs or initiatives initiated and implemented by our government, our administration in our time in office. So last week I saw the graduation of the Empower participants, and I commend the ministry for continuing such an important program. We have to remember the Empower program was conceptualized by former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell and implemented by the Division of Youth Development. Giving our young men, there was a special focus on young men, giving them the opportunity to develop and learn their soft skills and technical skills so that they can be empowered to live meaningful lives, to make their contributions to nation building, and just to ensure that the holistic approach of our young men is looked at. Because what has happened in the past with our programs, the percentage of young men participating was very small. A very small percentage of young men participated. And as a result, the Empower program was designed specifically for them. So this program is ongoing. I must say, however, at the budget presentation and looking at the budget documents presented last November, December, thereabout, I have seen a massive cut in that program by over $10 million. It can mean two things. in my opinion, that the government will be reducing the number of participants to be engaged in the program, because we had like between 500 young men, over 400 young men graduated last week at that ceremony. So if they reduce the budget, it means that the program will be contracted, or what is offered to the young men would be less. So that's what I'm seeing here, though it is continued, and very commendable for that, because it's a very good program. We have seen how it has been transforming the lives of our young men, giving them a second approach to life, another opportunity to empower themselves. Some of them dropped out of primary school, dropped out of secondary school. Some of them, even if they went on to college, they just lost hope after that. And the program really gave them a second opportunity to empower themselves. We have also seen the continuation of the New Imani program to a certain extent, I would say. Of course, we have heard hearing stories of many who have been sent home, plans to send home some. And, we also heard that the program will be moved to the National Training Agency. And that, for me, was a little bit confusing. I would say confusing, because the National Training Agency has always been part and parcel of the New Imani program, because they're responsible for standards, they're responsible for training and certification. And the many CVQ and certificated programs or skills that was implemented under that program were approved by the National Training Agency. As I assessed the statement, I'm not saying it's a decision because we have not seen it happen, the statement made by the Minister for Youth moving the Imani program to the NTA, National Training Agency, it means that they will be cutting it down to only training. Those of us who understand the program and those who have benefited, the over 5,000 young men and women who have benefited from the program, knew it provided just more than just training opportunities. People got entrepreneurial opportunities, employment opportunities, education enhancement opportunities. So to reduce it just to training, in my opinion, is another scaled down approach to the program. We have also seen the Project Fly. Once it was completed, that was the end of it. So that is no longer happening. I would love to see the Project Fly rolled out again, because it targeted young people at the community level. While we have the flagship programs like the Imani and the Empower program, there are many young people who are not prepared to move out of their communities. So we went into the communities to engage and empower them and give them that level of confidence that they need to move out and to explore the world further. So the end of the program came sometime maybe by August, last August, and that was the end of it. We have not seen a new community benefiting from it. Also, I've not seen any focus on youth bees, young people or youth in business. In our time, we have rebranded the Grenada Youth Enterprise Initiative into what we now call youth bees, a heavy focus on entrepreneurship for our young people. And that's very important, because our young people have many skills, many talents. They are very creative. And we have not seen any focus on entrepreneurship in terms of the youth bees. We have established a youth bees support center in St. Mark, and also partnering with the GIDC, we had a support center for youth entrepreneurs in Simon St. Andrew. But I'm only seeing currently the Empower to a scaled down level, and also the New Imani program.
All right.
I must commend the government, however, on the Creative Industries Conference that they had last week. I believe that was a very good initiative, giving our creative minds the opportunity to listen to those who have made it in their fields of work, to network with other people and network, and just that boost. So I do commend them, the government, for that program. However, it was rolled out by the Creative Office, the Office of Creative Affairs, and I'm still waiting on the Ministry of Youth Development to roll out some real serious youth initiatives.
All right. Now tell me, you spoke a lot in terms of what you would like to see the government do more for youth, in terms of youth focus initiatives and policies. Now, what are some of the things that government should put a lot of priority or prioritize a wee bit that we are not seeing? Tell us tell us about that and why you think they should put more prioritize some of these initiatives more than others.
Yes, it's very important to engage and empower young people, whether through education. In our time in office, we place heavy emphasis on ensuring that our young people receive scholarships or tuition assistance. We are not seeing an emphasis by the government to provide such assistance to our young people. These assistance go a long way in helping them to further their education. And we know once we have an educated youth, we have an educated nation. The communities will be enhanced. So I would like to see a greater focus on assisting our students who wish to attend St. George's University or any other universities, even TAMCC, to receive those tuition assistance to help them further their education. I've spoke about the entrepreneurship programs. We need to place heavy emphasis on our young entrepreneurs. In our time, again, I always have to go back because we did so much for our young people. The Youth Bees program saw continuous training and financing of youth businesses. We partnered with the GDB, the Grenada Development Bank, and there are many young people who could stand up and say, yes, they received the training, they received the loan financing, and today they have successful businesses. I believe entrepreneurship is the way to go. We must focus on that. We have to ensure that it is done in that era of digitization. So we need to maximize training in that area for our young people as well. As I said, the creative economy, very good initiative, very good conference, and I commend them for that. However, more must happen for the people who are not in that creative industry.
Let me also shift the conversation a wee bit and get your views on this. You know, recently with the passage of the Health Practitioners Bill, what's your take on that?
Yes, I followed closely the meetings held and the cries of the health practitioners, all those who were affected by that bill there. Of course, we maintain that the bill is a good bill because when you're providing service to consumers, you want to ensure you provide service at a high standard, a standard that, you know, can match with the world market, the regional and international market. So it is good to encourage our health practitioners to reach those standards. However, the time constraints and the financial constraints that they were faced with was indeed a problem. We have spoken out about it and we have seen government responding to this, and it means that they have listened, and this is good because our health practitioners, they were flabbergasted. You know, they were concerned. Some of them spoke to me, the nail technicians, the hairdressers, because they have been making an honest dollar for many years. And the thoughts of having to face closure or having to face heavy financial charges as a result of non-compliance, and so that got to them. So I'm happy that the period of time given to meet the standards have been extended, and I'm looking forward to see what would happen there. But I do want to encourage again the government to work with them, provide grant financing or loan financing to help them to get to the standards we want them to be at.
Now, there's also the conversation that was going around in terms of services that individual in various constituency, being your constituency, being your opposition MP. Have there been any issues that you would like to speak of in terms of, you know, what the access in terms of services that individual can obtain from your opposition as being an opposition MP and your office? What kind of services that individuals been having problems with in terms of accessing?
So, as a member of parliament, opposition member of parliament, we unfortunately do not have access to any government resources to provide services to our people. we do have constituents who still would come, and some of them will be sent, go to your MP, that's where you have to go. But we try our best to assist them how we can personally or otherwise, but in terms of government resources to assist anyone at the constituency level, we have not been provided with such. I've heard mentions of it, so I'm looking forward to when that can happen. Because as a member of parliament, we have responsibilities, and constituents expect us to meet certain needs on their behalf, because we are the ones who are elected to represent them. However, at this time, unfortunately, as I said, no resources have been received by government to assist our constituents.
You say that practically services that you're being the MP for the particular constituency, there's no services that individual can obtain from you at this point in time?
No services at this time. What can happen is if we create our own initiatives or ways to assist our constituents, but to say that they can come to the office to receive any government assistance, nothing of this sort.
None of that nature. All right, we due for a break. Let's take it. We come back and chit-chat some more. In the next segment, we also invite, if there's any viewer or listener over there, have a question or two you'd like to ask, of course, Lewis, you feel free to do so when we come back after this segment. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. We coming right back.
On Saturday, July 29, Montrouge Plainfield will be transformed into a sea of grills as food, fun, and friends collide. It's the 10th annual Maggie King of the Grill competition. The best chef and barbecue kings and queens compete for cash, a new grill, and the title of Maggie King of the Grill. Come savor the flavors. Try to bust the ice cold bar and let the kids have their way in the bouncing castles, pony rides, slides, and games. Try your hand at dominoes or the beer and leg competition and win instant cash. Come 7 p.m. you go stateside to enjoy performances from top local acts. It's a whole evening of fun at the Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, July 29 at the Montrouge Plainfield. Gates open from 12 noon. $10 gets you on the inside. Powered by Maggie, Hot 98, and GBN Television.
Welcome to the highly anticipated second season of Caribbean Medical TV, the first and only medical TV series that showcases the Caribbean and the emerging issues on all health and wellness forums in our region. Like season 1, the voices of our very own citizens, our local and regional doctors and medical experts forged the basis of the show. This season, we take the first groundbreaking original show even further. This series aims to empower our people with knowledge, from ways of detecting to ways of...
Welcome back to our listeners and viewers. To the point for today, Tuesday, the 16th day of May. With me this morning is Ms. Kate Lewis Peters with us this morning. She's an opposition MP. So before we move on, there's a question I guess, I guess the viewers and listeners may be anticipating that I do ask you this particular question. Now, it's about the resignation of MP Delva Thomas. Tell us how you about it, how you feel about it. Of course, you folks have been part of the New National Party. What's your take on a resignation, and how has it any affect you in any way or so in terms of your relationship in any way? You smiled. I'm not sure why.
Yes, I smile because the Honorable MP Delma Thomas and I, we have been good friends since I got into the political arena. She has been a role model for me. She has been an advisor, and she has guided me through the process as well. And we continue to be friends to this day. For me, and I said this to her, that I'm sorry that this is the end result. I was hoping that the situation would have resolved itself, but in life, if you believe that something is no longer fitting your purpose, and you have to make decisions that, will be better for you, then I have to respect that. And I say this to people who come to me, that we may not like something, but we have to respect it. And of course, I wish that we were still in the organization together as members of the New National Party. However, this is not the case. I don't like it, but I respect it.
All right. No, there was recent newscast from another news organization pertaining to the opposition leader going around having meetings in which you were not invited and so forth. Is there any truth to that?
We have to realize that we are in a political space where rumors and propaganda, if you're not careful, can mislead people. There are many meetings, of course, led by the opposition leader, Dr. Keith Mitchell, in various constituencies. I've had my meeting with the meeting of St. Andrew Northeast and the opposition leader. There are also meetings held at the party level of various committees, various groups. There was a meeting last week. I was not part of it, but I have not heard any cry about that one. So there are meetings that we will be part of. There are meetings that we will not be part of, but that is just normal for any organization. And it's based on committees that you're on or not on.
All right. So in a nutshell, you're saying all is well within the New National Party?
For me, I have no issues with my party. I have no issues with any member of my party.
Okay. I certainly agree. Happy to hear you say that. This segment, we will entertain a few calls from our viewers and listeners this morning. If anyone do have a question or two, feel free to give us a call and, of course, be to the point with your question that you would like to ask the MP. Let's go over to the phone line. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Yes, Mr. Gigi, good morning, and good morning to Mrs. Peters. Sometimes I don't like to question in political programs, but this thing has been on my mind. Now, every time we have an opposition person on this program, you hear a common thread, or you see a common thread running through: poor and vulnerable. Poor and vulnerable. Now, the opposition has been in government for between 18 to 20 years. So are they saying that that's all they produced was poor and vulnerable people? Because I cannot understand how we're going to develop poor and vulnerable people in 11 months, at least close to 11 months. Everything is poor and vulnerable. So tell me, please, how did this poor and vulnerable people come after this 18 to 20 years in office? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. I'm not sure if you want to respond.
Yes, I'm listening to the caller and I smile because I have not mentioned anything about poor. I have not used those terms. So I'm not sure if that was a preconceived question or if she was not listening to me. I have not mentioned anything about poor and vulnerable people throughout this whole presentation.
Oh, maybe it was just a generalized question she's asking in the interim.
Oh, okay. But we have to realize that there will always be the poor among us. And while you would see people moving up the ladder, people moving up the status quo, I came from poor and vulnerable background and communities, but here I am today. So you would always find there are those among us who will need help. As time goes by, you would always find that because we are living and we have a population that is increasing. Everybody will not be as fortunate to born into riches or to have access to resources that will allow them to get off that situation. It could be because of their personal problems, their personal issues. There would always be people who would drop out of school and will fall into that category. But as government, we continue And we have a responsibility to ensure that we upgrade people from that level. So it has been happening. We have been upgrading people. People are moving out of that category, but it does not mean that people are not moving in because of just normal daily living situations.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're so welcome. Welcome to the point this morning. Good morning to you, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guests. Good morning to you, Madame. I must give you credit because you did give credit for things that you thought were good, and that's laudable. But there seems to be a kind of trend, as someone mentioned earlier on. There's a bee in the bonnet of the opposition that the same issue seems to be coming up every time. 3 questions I'd like to ask. First of all, that $150, which seems to be the major bee in the bonnet, how long was that there before it was discontinued? Many years, or how long was it there before it was discontinued? Secondly, you mentioned about people in your constituency losing jobs and being replaced. Are they being replaced by persons outside of the constituency? So if it's a case of people who had jobs not being retained, but other people who did not have jobs getting jobs, what is the problem with that? So please tell me the people who are replacing those, if they are people from outside and not people from the constituency. The third question is, the Empower program, was it a local program or is it a regional program with some sort of regional, international support? Because you did say that it was conceptualized by the now opposition leader, Dr. Keith Mitchell. So those 3 questions, if you can answer them for me, please, I'll be very grateful. But
Thank you,
you're
caller.
not doing badly.
Thank you, caller. Ms. Peters?
Thank you very much, caller. I believe that these are some very, very good questions. The 150 that was removed from the elderly, we have to remember that a budget document is prepared for 1 year. And coming out of the COVID period, our government, our administration at the time, saw the impact, the negative impact of COVID on our people. And that is when the decision was made to increase the seed benefits to our elderly by $150. Of course, it was budgeted for that budgetary year. At the end of the budgetary year, it is the responsibility of government to assess the impact of increasing it and to determine if you wish to continue. Of course, mid-year, we had a change of government. And maybe based on the current administration's assessment, even after the current prime minister indicated that what was received should have been increased to over $600, the 150 was removed. So, of course, it was not there for many years, but it came out as a result of the negative effects of COVID on our people in terms of the cost of living increasing and thereabouts. You also mentioned about people losing their jobs, people being replaced. They are replaced in some cases by people within the constituency, and in other cases, people outside of the constituency. They're also replaced by people who are leaving their jobs to take up these positions. And that is why we are concerned about it, because we do have examples of people who were already working, gave up that job to take up these jobs from our constituents. But at the end of the day, caller, we have to realize that we are all citizens of this country. We all pay taxes and we must all benefit. The replacement of workers, in my opinion, was not a good idea by this government. What they should have done, if they needed to find some of the people, they come up with creative ways or creative forms of employment, because we have not seen any new employment initiatives by this government to this date. It's almost 1 year later. The Empower program. Yes, I said it. It's a local program that we in government created. It was conceptualized by the former Prime Minister. It was his idea. He brought it to us within the Division of Youth, and we had to develop it and implement it. What I would like to say, though, at a regional meeting that I attended, and we were discussing the different programs we have to tackle youth problems and so forth, I mentioned this program, and the youth minister at the time, Shamfa Kojo in Trinidad, she was very impressed. Subsequently, she asked us to submit our proposal documents and so forth. I got the PS at the time, PS Norman Gilbert, to speak to her PS in Trinidad to share the ideas of how we rolled out this program. And today we see that we have Empower Trinidad and Tobago, Empower TT. So it is a local program conceptualized by Dr. Kit Mitchell, implemented by the Division of Youth Development, impressed by the Trinidad government, and they are also using that. So they also have that program as well.
All right. Thank you there for your answers. Let's go entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. Guess we lost that caller there. 435-2041. If you do have a question or two that you would like to ask, please do so now. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Not bad. Go right ahead with your question, please.
Well, the minister spoke about the Allied Healthcare Bill, right? Said that we need to go international standard. You know? But I hope when we...
Caller, is there a problem with your phone? Because you seem to be breaking up a wee bit, so you may have to repeat how you started.
Okay. You can hear me good now, right?
Much better. Go right ahead, please.
All right. The minister said that we should go international, right? We are in Grenada, but we should go international. Now, I hope she can pay to do a nails and hair at international price. We have to go and invest in that area. Secondly, somebody spoke about poor and vulnerable. They hate to hear that. And I was touched to see somebody preach about God, hate to hear poor and vulnerable. Because even in England, they have soup kitchen. And even the king donated funds to help poor people on the street who can't get a meal. So we ain't going to hear what we have. Rich and vulnerable or poor and vulnerable? Because I don't understand. Seems like Grenada are the most rich people in the world because it ain't going to have poor people. And Grenada are poor people, there's something wrong. So stop labeling like it's something bad when you have poor people. We do have people in our country. We need to help them. Have a nice day, brother.
Thank you, caller. Thank you there for your contribution. Any response to the caller, Ms. Peters?
Just to clarify the statement about the allied healthcare workers or practitioners meeting international standards. We always have to aim for the best, and we have to encourage our people to aim for the best, because once you do that, they can now cater for the international market. I'm not saying that it has to be rushed. It can be a step-by-step process, but it is always good to get our people, our service providers, to provide services at a very high level.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning to you, caller. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. This lady has delivered herself to the best of her ability. I love the way she answered your question and other people's question. At the same time, I expect every government to do its own thing. The past government did its own thing. This government is likely or has continued or started its own thing. Now, they could only do their own thing with the resources that they met or the resources that are likely to be derived from the resources of our country. If we have human resources that are poor, maybe in education, and we're still calling them educated, then we're likely to have problems. I look at what is happening in Grenada. I think this government is making this, as you will say, this present government is making desperate effort to solve You want to use the word some for a problem. And some people will say they don't have poor people or vulnerable people. I don't know how they determine vulnerable people or poor people. What I do see and understand, a lot of us do not want to make contribution. We do not want to work. We want freeness. If the respective government, past and present, would educate people, underline the word educate, then we would have a great change. We would have less poor people, as you would say, and we would have people that would help our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kola. Thank you for your contribution also. It's to the point, Kate Lewis Peters, we drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back and we probably will entertain some more questions from our viewers and listeners after the break. Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back.
Campesh.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Wait to see my granddaughter.
So we're back inside the final segment of the show this morning. I have opposition MP with me this morning, that Kate Lewis Peters with us this morning. And we are taking your calls within this segment. We probably entertain another call or two, and then we come with a summarize with today's program, which we are able to wrap up at 10 a.m. this morning. Let's entertain this caller. Caller, good morning and welcome back.
Hello, good morning.
Good
MP for St. Andrews Northeast, opposition MP. Good morning, and to you. JT is his name. I want to say good morning to all. There are three brackets of people in this country: the upper, the middle, and the lower income brackets. I don't know what people playing games about. There is a lower income bracket people, and any government or any state that look into the affairs of the low income bracket. That's what the Bible says. We have to look after the poor. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And you empower poor people to move up from where they are and move them up. And God be with the NNP for doing that, you know. And the Empower program is such a dynamic program. And when you look at the crime situation, mental health situation, and all kind of situation, a program will like that and others will help, especially women in this country. Single women, poor women, you know, you have to create opportunities for them. And I won't go on and on, but people who the eyes could go and see and hear what is taking place. And I want to congratulate MP for really standing up with the people and seeking and standing up for that Simon Culture Center. Since a little girl, I heard the cry about the Simon Culture Center. African tell them was crying in the grave. And even the boat bridge at Pearls, I hear in the tedious call from Pearls and surroundings. So I hope that the government is listening, because Pearls in St. Andrews, that's where St. Andrews Public Works is located, right around the corner there, SSU camp, and so on. So please have a heart. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution there. Also, I'm not sure if you have a response for the caller. MP?
No.
You know, let's probably be an entertainer or final caller. We just have approximately 3 minutes left on today's program. Then we come with a summary of today's program. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome. I guess we lost that caller there. If a caller do come in really quick, we most likely will try to entertain. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning to you, Mr. Yeah, good morning. I heard the minister talk about the Simon Road, which, you know, like the Paul's Bridge, whatever. But it's not yesterday or 2 days, this bridge was in a bad condition. And this bridge collapsed many times already. I think just recently, the last time that they do some works on that bridge, you know, that I think that they replaced some, this wood or whatever on the bridge, you know. But this bridge is collapsed for a long time now. Now, so I see where my MP or whatever have to talk about the bridge. Government come this bridge, the Paul's product, everybody keep driving and moving on this bridge. So and she said that it's 3 months now this bridge collapsed. This bridge is not for 3 months now, my minister, Miss MP. It's not 3 months now. Now I mean, it's not 3 months now. Come to your facts, come to your reality. And again, they leave a lot of unfinished road, which is the NNP leave a lot of unfinished road. And any government in office, and they lose, and any jobs on the outside to do, and the government have to come and do it. So when they're talking and say, this was the NNP work, and this building was there, and look, now I mean, they build it, and no. Things don't go so. Our government have to see after them things and them.
All right, caller. So thank you, caller. Thank you. MP, of course, Opposition MP Kate Lewis Peters with us this morning. Any closing, of course, statement you'd like to make before we take a wrap? Just around a minute or two left on today's program.
Yes, I want to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to communicate with our people this morning via your platform. It was indeed a pleasure, because I have been away on maternal duties for a while, and this is basically my first official media engagement for in a while. So it was indeed a pleasure to be here. I want to encourage the people of St. Andrew Northeast to let us stand firm, let us stand together, let us work together to ensure that we can all help and support each other in our difficult times that we are faced now. I want to, again, make a clarion call to the government to reach out, consult with our people, because they deserve to know what is happening. We do not just take measures without consulting the people and then they're left in the loop. As it relates to youth development, I would like to see the continuation of the New Imani program in its full force, just as how we had it, or even to expand on it, rather than contracting it. The Empower program, I would like to see the allocations, not contracted but increased, so that more young men can benefit from that program. Overall, I just want to wish everybody a pleasant day, a productive day, and thank you again for having me on this program.
All right. I want to thank you also for taking the initiative to be with us today. That's Ms. Peters. Thank you so much. And I want to best wishes going out to you for the rest of the day. And I hope to have you back soon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for the To The Point program for today. I want to thank all who contributed in some way or the other, whether it's by your phone calls, your comments, some way or the other. I want to thank you a whole lot. Have a good day, folks. Be good to yourself and others. Have a good one. Goodbye for today.